indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Meeting is called to order. 7:01.
I had to do that once and it just kept sitting there trying to cycle in anyway, so it was like,
No, it went, so.
okay,
Okay, roll call. Annie,
yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Tim.
Here.
Absent is Michelle and Justin.
If there's no additions, I'll move to adopt the agenda.
I'll second.
Well, hang on.
Well, we have, Jana's not here, right? No.
Right. The market study will not happen tonight because of a transportation problem out of Europe. So that's going to be tabled until August 14th. They'll be here then. They wanted to do it this Wednesday, but I did not think that we would have time to get it set up for Wednesday. So we're going to go with the 14th, okay?
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, that's the only change I can see.
Well, the one last thing, Todd commented, the McGivern shoreline, there's a letter in your packet and it's just informational purposes. He had nothing for tonight, so.
Okay.
So we'll scratch talking about that.
Keep going.
Eliminate all of it.
Is that it? Or we got it all corrected?
I don't have any more
The
changes.
short form agreement, is that what Todd had him go
Mhm.
back and redo?
Yes,
So,
he's good with
And
it.
he's reviewed
good
it and
with
he's
it.
good with
Yeah.
it.
okay.
Okay, now we can,
Okay, with those corrections, I will move to approve.
I'll second.
Adopt the agenda.
Adopt. Yes.
okay, motion to adopt the agenda with changes by Tim, seconded by Brett. Any further discussion? Those in favor? Okay,
And I will move to approve the minutes of July 10th.
I'll second.
motion to approve the minutes of July 10th by Tim, seconded by Brett. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
I'll abstain, I wasn't here.
Okay,
I will move to approve appropriation ordinance 1509.
I will second.
yeah, we have a motion to approve the additions to appropriation ordinance 1509 by Tim, seconded by Brett. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Roll call.
I'm sorry. I knew that. Okay, Annie,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Tim.
Yes.
Okay, public concerns.
I guess this is where I say something.
This is where you get your opportunity, Mr. Bridgman.
All right, my roommate lives with me. She drove her truck off in the big hole down there off of Bellevue Avenue after all the rain.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a bill I sent her to the front end shop because I couldn't fix it. It's only $156,
Yeah,
but I feel like the city should pay for it. You know, that it's just a good thing it was a little truck. It'd been my truck, a 3/4 ton truck or something bigger like that, it knocked the whole front end out from underneath it when you went across that.
can I ask you to come back on August 14th when our attorney's here to address it with him?
I can't, I'm leaving, I gotta go to Neodesha tomorrow and
What?
drive sheet piling across the Neosho River to replace the 24-inch line.
What about your roommate? Can she come in?
Well, I don't know, she would have been here tonight, but she had to work. I could say she couldn't
Okay.
be here.
All right.
Can you leave it with us and we'll just
I can
bring it
leave
up
you
with him?
Estimate.
You want a
Or I
copy?
mean, she had it fixed, I can leave you the bill,
Can we make a copy of that?
Yeah.
And let you have your original back?
but,
And we'll get it to the attorney to see what the legal stance is for that, okay?
well, it's your road.
Well, I've lived in cities all my life that I've hit potholes and
And this
damage.
ain't no pothole, man. I mean,
Well, let
they
me
dug
just,
across your road.
let me just say this, right quick. The other cities don't pay for damages when something like that happens. Likewise, water, when you have a flood, 5 inches of rain in
That
an
ain't
hour,
what caused that.
well,
The people that
The
put
water-
it in didn't get compaction in the middle of the road.
the water had to go somewhere.
The people that put the backfill the ditch didn't compact. That's
Okay.
why the ditch fell out.
And so again, we're just gonna present this to the attorney and let him tell us where we need to go. If we are responsible for that, we'll take care of it. But if he says we're not, then that's where it stands.
What's your road down?
Okay,
I mean, I do it for a living and they come and make sure that I get compaction whenever I go through the road, you know, so that doesn't happen.
so they've repaired that road, I think, on Monday.
They dumped some rock on top of the mud.
So I was gonna ask if anybody compacted that.
I don't know. When I come through, it was just I seen it was done.
Sure, I understand.
I
And
mean, what should have happened is whoever dug through the road should have come back and redone it.
When did they dig through that road, James? I don't
Now,
know.
like that week, I watched them.
That
First,
week?
I seen locate come in, and they
There was a
located,
sewer.
so they located all the lines. So
Sewer company was there.
yeah, it's some outfit out of
The
deep,
city didn't dig it up.
Okay. That's
but
what
it
I'm-
come
city
across
didn't dig it
Hoffman's
up.
yard, clear across the road, and tied into your guys' sewer. So
Hmm.
the people that locate all the lines were out there the day before, because I went out and talked to them. The city, I assume, had to locate their own gas line, because it goes right through there. I mean, they had to know where it was to dig across the ditch, through the road, and tie into your guys' sewer.
okay,
I'm just saying, I mean.
yeah, I understand. But you gotta understand where I'm coming from too. I don't know the legalities of that. Our attorney will. And if he says we're liable, then we're gonna take care of it. Okay, so that's the only
I mean,
place.
that's why they always come and inspect me when I dig through a road.
Okay, but that's okay. That's good.
I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It wasn't the rain, it was a simple fact that they just fluffed the dirt in there. And then when the rain come, the road settled. If they would have put it in on lifts and compacted it like they're supposed to, the road wouldn't have settled.
So maybe the issues with the locate company. that
No,
did it.
it's issues with whoever that was that they hired, that dug through the road.
Yeah, so that's what I'm
The
saying.
locate
Whoever-
company,
whoever
they just
were.
come and located the lines for them so they wouldn't get it.
Okay.
You got to do the one call before you did.
I want to ask a question.
Yeah, but-
James, you sent me a couple pictures of that.
Yeah,
Do you have any more?
I still got them on my phone, but I sent Brent
I have the two
same,
that you sent me.
same pictures.
Okay.
So
You
did
know?
did they go through that while it was raining?
No,
It was
no,
after.
It was dry. It was bone dry.
They did.
They went through that like 2 days before that rain.
No.
You
When
mean your
your
roommate?
roommate, when did she go
Oh,
through
she
it?
went through it after it rained.
So the rain had stopped.
No, it was raining.
It was currently raining
It
at
was
the
currently
time,
raining.
and there was water running across the road when she went
It
through it.
looked like a water puddle when she hit it. And then when she hit it, she sunk clear out the side, and
Yeah.
she had to call Jim Bob, and he come down with his truck and pulled her out.
Okay.
That's the reason why she couldn't tell. You know, it looked like a water puddle.
Were there no barricades?
No, there was
placed
nothing.
there?
There was nothing there. After he drug her out, I went down and looked at it, and I took pictures and I sent them to Tim and I sent them to Brett. And then somebody come up and put 3 cones up later on that night.
Yeah, our maintenance guy was there like at
And then
10 after 5. He
And
was
then the
there,
next day, there was a road closed sign up.
right? Because
And
I
then-
went out there that night.
Yeah.
Because I got wind of it about 10 minutes to 5. And by the time I got my vehicle up and running and got over there, it was like a quarter after 5, and I saw the 3 red cones out there.
Oh, well, the red cones weren't there when I took the pictures. And,
Right, I saw that. I
Yeah.
saw those pictures as well.
Yeah.
I saw them on Facebook, I think.
yeah, I mean, because, you know, people sickled down through that cutoff road pretty good lick. It's just a wonder. You know, she was coming from my house, headed to work
Mhm,
when she hit it. So she wasn't going all that fast, but it did knock her truck out of alignment.
Sure.
It didn't bend anything, but she went into the front end shop, $150, they straightened it up. So I told her she didn't want to ruin her tires.
Okay.
But, and luckily you guys got cones up and nobody else did it. But that contractor is the one that messed up. I mean, usually when you dig through somebody's road, they tell you we want 98% compaction in this road. And they'll come and check on you when you're putting it back to make sure you got it. And make sure that because if you just slough dirt in it, because I've done it. I know what happens if you slough dirt in it. When it rains, it dissolves. The dirt, it just falls out. There's no bottom to it. And that's exactly what happened. I felt like they should have had to come back and fix it. But if you guys want to do their work for them, that's fine. You know, I just know what I usually got to do for a city
Sure.
when I dig through the road.
Okay, we'll address this with the attorney and maybe get it solved before the 14th of October. I mean, 14th of
Well,
August.
yeah, I'm
August.
not asking for a lot. I just think it's the right thing to do because it did mess the truck up.
Okay, we'll see what we can do for you, okay?
Lisa, I sent you that picture.
I don't know. I didn't think about getting the name of who dug it. You know, I just know they went clear across Hoffman's yard and clear across your guys' road. And I'm fairly sure you guys knew about it because the locate people were out there the day before.
Well, I'll be quite honest with you. I didn't have a clue that there was any work done out there until this incident happened.
I've never tied into somebody else's sewer or something like that without talking to them first.
Mhm.
You know, being the contractor. And knowing, I don't know if the gas line turns at that corner, but it goes right by my house, your guys' gas line.
Mhm.
So if it goes across the road and straight up, one of the city employees had to go up there and locate your guys' gas line. I mean, one call would have notified you guys
Mhm.
to flag it. That's all I'm saying. It was, nothing you guys done, but you should have made that contractor do it.
I understand.
So you want me to leave this receipt with who?
I made a copy of it.
Oh, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
All
Sorry.
right.
Lisa.
Okay, thank you for,
Thanks, Jamie.
Yeah.
thank you. Anybody else, public comments? Are you on the agendas or just looking?
Am I on the agenda?
She is on the agenda.
Yep.
Okay.
I thought I was.
All right. Okay, so, next thing, city building permit, Megan Taylor.
There's a copy in your packet. Did the color print off okay with? Basically, the fence will be inside of the sidewalk area at the corner of Fifth and Walnut.
This is a gal, if you guys remember, that talked about wanting ducks because she's allergic to chicken eggs.
Oh,
Just so you put a face to the name there.
She's got her ducks already too.
All right, are they in a row?
Probably not. I mean, who the hell has their ducks in a row?
not me.
Okay,
I move to approve.
I'll second.
And she did pay the 25. So.
okay. All right, we have a motion to approve Megan Taylor's permit application by Tim, seconded by Brett. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
I'm just gonna vote too, don't I?
Approved.
Aspen, you're up.
Aspen, you're up.
First I'm gonna pass around a letter, mailed out a bunch of these, for dog registrations. And we've had several people since we sent out the letters come in and get their dogs registered. We put on there's gonna be a $25 fine per dog if not registered by August 1st. So basically we gave them another month. But this time I singled out households that I knew had dogs that weren't registered. So hopefully we can get some of them in, but there's still going to be some people after that we will then have to talk about assessing the fine and where to go from there. Not many though. Like I'm talking like maybe like a handful of people that I think probably won't respond to this letter. You know what I mean? So, dog registration is up substantially in the last couple of months. I'd say we're getting pretty close to, it seems like I've seen it. I'd say we're getting pretty close to 100% registration on dogs in town.
That's good. I was in here a couple days ago when a resident came in, raising stink about having to register the dogs that person has. And so I tried to calm her down, talk to her about it, and kind of make light of the situation. And it finally came time to pay Lisa. And to register the 3 dogs cost her $6.
Uh-huh.
And she says, I can't believe I'm sitting here griping about having to pay $6. And I thought, well, same thing. We got a good laugh out of it, though. You know.
Yeah.
Terry did lighten the mood, and it, you know,
Right. And I mean, there's just some people that aren't gonna take kindly to being told what to do, no matter who it is or what it is.
In fact, the person did thank me for changing the ordinance because of
The
dogs
pit bulls.
Yeah.
I would like to know if there's a cheaper way that we can let people know rather than sending it through the mail. I wish there was something that you didn't have to send out all those letters to each individual house.
You could do it every door direct.
you know,
Well, and that's what Dolly told me I should be doing, is going door to door.
No, every door direct mail is cheaper mail. That's all.
Oh, I thought you meant like literally going door to door.
No,
I
I
would
just
say out in the
I
neighborhood,
personally have done
people-
every door direct mail, and it's
May.
interesting but cheaper.
I mean,
Much cheaper.
Aspen had just put a little
Right.
column in the newsletter in May that City Dog, and it went out with their monthly bill.
Yes.
Anyway, so
And I've tried, making posts on Facebook Watch or on the Eskridge Watch on Facebook. But I don't really know who has seen it. And this way, I know you received a letter.
Well, officially, we
I'm-
have to do the letters because that's the legal way of letting them know that they're responsible.
Yeah.
I mean,
And it leaves open accountability for everybody, because you can't be like, well, I didn't know. Well, were you not checking your mail? Did you
Well,
open it and not read it?
and even go a further step, it should be sent certified mail if it's past the deadline in this case.
That was going to be one of my other things to address. Come August 1st, when we start assessing the fines, it doesn't really specify in our animal code any time of like length or any further repercussions to not getting your dog registered, or you know what I mean? So
Yes.
it's something I've been thinking about, that we should probably, if this is going to be what it is, then we are going to need to have
More
something. And you know what I mean? To go,
Yes.
because I can't just be like, $25 after August 1st and then
December,
Okay.
they still don't have it registered.
exactly. And I don't have any other repercussions as far as the animal code is concerned. So, the other thing is, so we have a resident in town that has a potbelly
I
pig.
was going to ask you about that one.
And they came to a city council meeting on the 26th, but you guys had went into executive session.
They came at the end of the meeting.
Right,
Yes.
right, yeah. So I mailed their letter the 13th. They received it for sure, I know, by June 15th, because they called me and left a message wanting to discuss how their pig is not swine because it's a potbelly pig, but it's still swine. But our thing says, and I sent them a copy, that animals commonly regarded as livestock, and their thing is, well, it's a pet pig. It's not commonly regarded as livestock.
We had a pet goat once. What does that count as? Let me ask
So,
you- I'm going to interrupt you right quick.
Okay.
And sorry to interrupt you. I don't want to forget it. Do you have a copy of that letter you sent to him?
no. I have looked all over the computer and I cannot find it. I don't know it properly. I've searched under everything I thought I could possibly have saved it.
The reason I asked that question is because he called me at the house and he said we were going to fine him $500 if he didn't get rid of that. Potbelly
No,
pig.
in the thing it says you can fine up in the animal code.
in the code.
Okay.
Right. But my letter to him stated that because it says in the animal code that I can assess $10 to $50 a day for each day after his 10th day.
Mhm.
So I went with the low end of that because we know who we're talking about. So I went with $10 a day instead of $50 for every day on the 11th day forward. So their 10th day was the 25th They came to the meeting on the 26th, I assume, to try to argue it, and you know what I mean, but they've made no more contact, and I have tried to reach out to him twice. And he hasn't called me back or made any attempts to contact me.
And it's still there? Because the neighbors haven't commented lately.
So
I'm sure.
I was by there today and I didn't see the pig, but I saw the place where they're keeping the pig still on the porch. Doesn't necessarily mean anything, but without being able to get back with him, and I can't know for sure. So now I guess I just want to know, where do we just assess him the fine and keep assessing the fine till he gets rid of it? Do you want me to try to seize the pig? I'm having a hard enough time trying to find a place to put dogs, so I don't know how well I'll be able to take care of a potbelly pig if I have to seize it,
I got a
but
place for it.
yeah. I don't know you get much bacon off of that.
Smoker roll.
I think we need to find out if he still has it.
Okay. I mean, and I'm under the assumption that he does, but I will find out for sure. Hopefully, I mean, worst comes to worst, I'm just gonna have to go over there and
Knock on the door or whatever and see
see
if
if I
it's
can hear it.
And if
or-
it is still there, let me know, and
Okay.
I'll send an email to Todd for his advice.
Okay.
Todd's our attorney for those who.
I would also suggest how you said that worked with the fine after the 10 days,
Mm-hmm.
to use that same thing for the dog registration.
To add something like that into the, yeah, and that's kind. Lisa and I have kind of talked about it. We've talked about a couple different scenarios and stuff like that. So you heard what he said about
I mean, if our code's anything like Harveyville's, it's like if they fail to register it, then they're taken to municipal court, and they've done that in Harveyville.
Well, and ours states after, I can't remember exactly how long that courts are supposed to get involved. But there's really nothing in between a fine and going to court. You know what I mean? So I guess if that's the way you want to play it, I'm cool with that, I guess. You know what I mean? But I feel like there should maybe be a couple,
Steps.
yeah.
Don't we need to add it into the code?
You would have
I
to
think that we-
adopt
We'd have
an
to change.
ordinance to
Yeah.
change that.
Well, I mean,
I mean, for
We
now,
just
we
need to
need to
adjust it,
adopt
don't we?
something even saying that they're gonna have to go to court over the deal. Right? I mean,
We
that's
need
not
that.
in there.
a timeline and then a further consequence.
Yeah. Because I feel like the code is going in the right direction, but you can tell that almost that it's never been enforced because there's just so many
Loopholes.
and things that don't add up. You know what I mean? So it looks great on paper,
Mhm.
but then when you start trying
Is the
to,
ordinance, and I can look at it tomorrow too, the ordinance itself that the code was adopted from, does it give it any more clear? We can look at that tomorrow.
it basically just, it says like the exact same thing as what it says in the, except for, the stuff about the city, be it ordained that the governing body, that kind of stuff that's in here that's not in the, so the ordinance pretty much says exactly what the thing says, so. But I feel like that's probably something you and I can brainstorm, Lisa, and come up with a
No,
good
we'll
way
just,
to.
yeah. You don't wanna have to go through legal publications and the expense if it's already there.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but that's all I got. You guys have anything for me?
Good luck with the potbelly pig.
So,
And yes,
Property with-
it's very clear that it's not allowed. God, they're not gonna argue that one.
So somebody
them
has
at
been,
lights last night at like midnight.
last night, because there's been a lot of activity over the last couple days, like hauling garbage out, cleaning stuff out of the house.
They're gone.
I
I mean, a
Um,
realtor / I don't know what her title would be anyway, called because they have been evicted.
yeah, they, as of the other day, had not taken the dogs though.
On the dark.
So this is the
Behind C&E Motor.
304 seater with all the dogs, the tarps around the fence and stuff. I mean, there hadn't been anybody there for quite a while, but so now they're officially.
There's no
over.
animals there anymore.
No, that's what I said. Last I knew, they hadn't taken the dogs yet.
Somebody mowed part of that yard.
Somebody mowed that yard twice with a weed eater in the middle of the night.
But it still needs to be cut down, the whole thing, not just
Hey,
a.
come on now, because I'm right next door and my yard does not look so great right now.
She has reached out
So-
and she's got somebody hired to mow that lawn.
I have been checking on the dogs. And somebody has been keeping them in food and water, whether they're sneaking in the middle of the night or what. The dogs are not seeming malnourished or anything like that. I have still been talking to so many people trying to find a place for these dogs to go, but I'm mostly running into problems with the 2 pit bulls because a lot of places in Kansas have banned pit bulls. And so they can't take them. And I actually had a lady up by Lee's Summit. I told her about us overturning our pit bull ban, and she goes, "Oh, was it hard? We want to do that here." And I was like, "No, but I live in a town of like 200 people. I bet Lee's Summit is probably going to be a lot harder to get something like that changed." Like,
Jeez, we're at least 400, okay?
Exactly. We're twice that size.
It's like a dagger.
so I've been keeping an eye on them across the street and still just trying to make calls and see if I could find somebody to get them. But we're really going to have to find something to do with them if those people have just abandoned them. And if there's a realtor involved, we're probably going to have to get them involved.
And I think she's just kind of managing for the owner because she called to ask about handyman around to make some repairs and mow the lawn. And so I've given her some names for those items. So
Yeah. Well, I've seen people cleaning up the property over the last couple of days. So I haven't been over to check the dogs in 3 days. What did I say? Monday, Friday was the last time that I actually saw the dogs and heard the dogs inside. But there have been people on and off the property for the last several days, so I just didn't feel comfortable being over there in case they showed up and stuff. So so I'm gonna find out about the potbelly pig then for sure, and I'll let you know, Terry, so you can get with Todd.
Okay.
So
All
anything
right.
else?
Oh, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. New city business. Luke?
Thanks for the opportunity to talk. I just wanted to start the discussion. No super rush, but we are we're progressing on the building. JD's kind of looking like mid-September. Obviously, there's things that can always go sideways, but timing-wise, that's pretty good for us with kind of the end of the year push. Right now, we've already got 4 end-of-year orders booked to ship here because, like I said, we are just completely out of space in Sabetha, so at least we've got a place put a roof over it here. That'll be somewhere between 12 and 15 skids. The big door in the back is where we're going to be bringing in pallets. My original idea or goal with coming here was to find a way for a full-size semi-truck to access that alley. I've looked at it. I'm not a semi-truck driver. I don't see that's possible. There's either a utility pole or a water meter, or there's just too tight of a space, from my opinion, to get a semi through that alleyway.
So are you talking a semi that would back into that building or just?
Yeah, or like pull up the street and then back in that way, or pull straight through and then make the corner out. I just don't see how it's possible.
You could probably drive that tractor trailer through her yard just directly.
no, there's a utility pole there.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, a full-size semi-truck with our needs is very rare. It'd be a bonus if we could get one back there. So the main thing is think of a box truck or a full-size UPS truck. This one project, it's actually for a company out of the Netherlands that has a headquarters in Kansas City. We do a very large drop ship project for them in December for employee and client gifts. It's about 5,000 drop ships. So last year, what UPS did is he'd bring a trailer in the morning, drop it. We would load throughout the day, stuff the thing full. He'd pick it up and head to Topeka. We did that for about 4 days in a row. and so my point with it is, if you look at that southwest exit, Lisa, you probably know what I'm talking about. It's a very considerable drop off there. I mean, with my truck, I can make it, but a car,
You still go slow with a truck.
yeah, you've got to. And with a full size UPS truck that it's hanging over the dualies in the back, I'm afraid it would scrape once the back wheels drop down to the street. I would like to just maybe explore a way for a UPS truck or a box truck. And I think I could do some research too and talk to some concrete guys. I think it's a pretty simple fix. Tear out a little bit and re-pour that so that it's a little more accessible.
Yeah, I drove through it the other day too. I saw you on the agenda and you had alley maintenance on there. So I went down that alley to see what maybe you were talking about. And the only place I could find was what you're talking about, where it goes into the street.
Yeah, and if we do end up having to have a semi come, we can work around it. They could park in the street, and we can pallet jack it or get a forklift and move it in. That's not a big deal.
So that's what I was thinking about. If the tractor trailer came down there, they can just park in the alley while they unload the truck with the forklift, couldn't they?
But I don't see how a full size semi is going to be able to make any of the four corners in
I
or
see.
out,
I see.
forwards or backwards.
Okay.
If you look at it, it's a really tight easement between the poles or the utility, whatever, on each side of the alley. And then they're pushed all the way out to the curb on the east and west sides, where I just don't think they can make that corner.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
And like I said, that's manageable. That was my ultimate goal, find a way. I don't see it possible, but then back to the UPS type truck or with a trailer or a box truck, I see that exit out being a problem for a regular UPS truck, or if it's pulling a trailer. Because they really like those guys in that project. He backed up, hooked it up quick, and bam, he was out the door because he was on a tight time frame to get it speaker St. Joe to get it out, get it scanned and out
Sure.
the door.
Sure.
So him having to maneuver it around and back up and go out the same way he came is going to be very difficult for him.
Okay.
So that's all I'm asking. Like I said, I could talk to some guys, maybe the guys that poured the concrete over here, and just have them get an estimate. I'm willing to help with it. If it comes down to it, I'll ask for approval to do it, because it's really pretty important, because what it's going to do is allow us to bring more here. And that's where the sales tax, I think I looked it up on Avalara. I think 1% stays in Eskridge, 1% stays in Wabunsee County. I did the math real quick. These 4 orders, around $225,000 in revenue. So that's, it's 1.5 in the county. 3,300 to the county and 2,200 some to the city. And like I said, my point with the Netherlands, I think it's the Netherlands. It's either Netherlands or Denmark. That's just money that's coming to this town from a long ways away.
Oh yeah.
And that's the way we bill. Our sales tax is billed. It doesn't matter where the product originates from, where the FOB point is, where the customer is, where the buyer is. Where we ship it is where the customer takes possession. That spits out our invoice for that sales tax to go on their invoice.
Well, I don't know about the council, but I personally don't have a problem with you checking with your concrete people,
Okay.
because they're the ones that's going to know how much pressure is going to be needed on that concrete to support the vehicles you're talking about.
And
So,
it'd be
yeah.
Okay. And then if we get an estimate, can I just maybe, instead of coming again, maybe just send that over and it could be discussed and how we work it out,
You
if you
can-
guys pay for it, or?
Now, are you out here every day with the constructor?
No.
I've tried looking for you and I've gone by because I've always wanted to stop and see how things are going. But you can always have it dropped off to Lisa.
Okay. Okay.
And
And
we'll-
then, okay, thank you. And then Brad, I did want to, we do have we're going to do a limestone front. Just, whatever, this high kind of. And then we noticed there's a lot of brick also on the street. So I have a picture if you wanted to see it, but it's just limestone. We might dry stack it, we might mortar, haven't decided yet. And then the red bricks will just kind of, it's hard for me to explain, but the limestone's running this way and the bricks are on top of that running this way, stacked. So my opinion, it's a nice look, and it's just some way to maybe tie in some of the existing Main Street kind of,
No, I appreciate that.
so.
It'll look nice.
As do I.
Okay. I think it will. I showed Jay a picture of our house at home and it just looks nice. So,
Well, and just keep in mind too, the property taxes that the city will generate from that, it's gonna be more than the vacant lot was. You know, he talked about sales tax, but your property taxes.
right,
Revenue's also gonna increase.
He's
right,
also talking sales tax just on that one set of orders there too.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
so-
And that's my point is the more that we can bring here, that can end up amounting to a pretty large amount of money that actually stays right here in this building. So
Are you going to be hiring any local people to help you out? on
I
that?
can't say right now that I am for sure. It just totally depends on how, if it gets full and we're shipping in and out every day, we're gonna have to do something because I can't come down here every day.
Right,
I just don't know if it's hard for me to predict.
right. And that's okay. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
I've had people ask me what's going on in there.
Yeah, we've used, JD's local and all his guys, I'm assuming are semi-local. So I'm trying to do everything we can, with local people so that some of the money is staying here. So
Have you lost any 2x4s that have been piling up out there?
not that I know of.
Well, I tell you what, I drove by there and had to stop and say, hey, well, I could use those. I thought, well, I better not. It's still daylight.
Find them in the scrap pile.
Okay.
All right, so that's all right if I look into that.
Yes,
and then get
yes. Under Lisa, and we'll take a look at it. If we don't
Okay.
feel like we can get a better deal,
Okay.
we're gonna go with you. But
Okay, like I said, just wanted to grease the skids.
I'll probably
So
go with
anything By the fall, we're ready to roll.
Yeah. All right, very good.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And
Appreciate
leave me a
it.
contact
Thank you.
too when you send it over so we can get back with you right away. Okay.
Sounds good, thanks.
From what we've
Appreciate
seen from the concrete contractors, better get on the schedule.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I'll contact them tonight.
Yeah, yeah. When you're talking about doing something by the fall, that's gonna be creeping up pretty
Yeah, I
darn
know.
quick.
I
So
know. Well, I'll at least try. It's manageable if it doesn't happen, but I wanted to at least start, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming in. Okay, Tressa. I apologize. I didn't recognize you earlier tonight because you weren't in your pickup truck.
That's okay.
All right. So we're talking Tressa now about her bell tower temporary liquor license permit.
I'll move to approve
Are these different?
the temporary one until the other one is.
Oh, I see.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
The beer is an annual
Is it annual
thing.
permit?
Okay.
So what I want to do
Oh.
is just do a temporary permit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
For the liquor, I can only get 4 a year.
Mhm.
It will allow me to have a chance to see if I want to justify
The full one.
the
Yeah.
full one.
Okay.
Mhm.
I wasn't reading them right, so I get it now. We're good. You made a motion. You made a motion. I can't remember.
Brett made the
He
motion and
moved.
Tim seconded.
10 seconds.
Thank you.
I'm good.
So motion by Brett, seconded by Tim. Any further discussion?
No.
Those in favor? Okay, you got that one.
I have one
Almost.
question
Okay.
on that though.
Mm.
If she wants to have 4, I mean, this is a little bit different than the annual one that you get. If she wants to have another one in
Oh yeah, thanks for bringing that
August
up. So do I
or
need to
September, does she
come
have to come every time, or can your motion
be approved for
be
each one
approved
for
for
4 a
the 4
year?
events, 4 per year? And that might need to be a different motion.
Because I will be in here
She just didn't want
once a
to have to
month.
come in every month
Right.
to get a
I
temporary
mean,
permit.
you should have said that before we just.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I
We
was
can-
waiting on Tressa to.
Well, no, I thanks for bringing that up.
No.
I forgot. So I guess I did say it. I'm going to get 4 a year.
So can we?
But she's asking if you're approving it without it going to the committee. Can I bring the
I
phone down
moved
once a month?
In knowing that it was, she just said
for
4.
4. Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Was that what your second is for, Sam?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
That's
It is a
the
little
way
bit-
I understand
It's a
it.
little confusing. You guys have to sign off on it once a month.
Or whenever she holds it.
Or yeah, whenever I apply for it. Yeah.
So,
All right.
And I move to approve the CND license.
You want this? This is a copy.
that's a copy.
I will second it.
We have a motion by Brett to approve the
Annual.
CMB annual license, seconded by Tim. Any discussion? Those in favor? Okay, that passed.
You're good.
Interest of that is the calendar year, so we'll approve it now, but then, and then you didn't sign this actually.
No, you guys have to sign it.
No, this is your
Oh,
application,
okay.
so just,
Do I get those tomorrow or tonight?
yeah, you can
I
give it,
come
I'll give
tomorrow.
it tomorrow, if that's okay.
We will be having an open house in September and I'll drop a flyer out.
Okay, great.
Thank you, appreciate
I
it.
guess that's when I'm gonna eventually get down here, Tressa. I know I've been telling you I'm gonna come down and look at the place, but maybe the open house is gonna be what I end up doing.
Yeah, no, we're gonna have an open house and we'll let everybody wander around. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, thank you so
Thank you
much.
for,
I
thank you for
appreciate it.
coming. Okay, charter ordinance annual appointments. You guys have a copy of charter ordinance number 14 in your packet. I'm gonna let Lisa explain the purpose behind this thing.
Well, it eliminates that annual appointment it used to be in May with elections changing. I'm not sure if that calendar date changed, but a lot of, especially small communities, opt out of that, and you can charter ordinance, so the mayor will recommend an appointment, and that appointment then stands until that person quits or is fired or another appointment is made. It could last 6 weeks, it could last 6 years. It just,
What action is this requiring?
Just
Just
approval.
well, you would need a motion and a second and a roll
Right.
call vote, and then it has to be published 2 times, and it doesn't take effect until 60 days after the
Last publication.
publication.
I will move to approve it.
Just eliminates having to do it every year.
Do we have to do this again when we
What's the
hire someone?
advantage of doing it every
No.
year?
No, it's when if somebody's appointed and they either resign or they, we decide to fire them for, not fire them, that's the wrong word to use.
Dismiss them.
Dismiss them. This is not employees. This is
These are appointed positions.
appointed positions. Such as Aspen as the dog catcher. She is appointed to that position.
Well, it just says city clerk in here as well. That's why I'm asking. City treasurer, city clerk.
Right. Court clerk, city attorney, the judge, and other such officers.
City clerk is appointed, but like the maintenance guys are not.
Okay. That's
Chief of police.
I might appoint Richard as our chief of police, even though he lives at the lake. I think
That's where all the crime is.
Yeah,
It'd be
yeah.
appropriate.
Yeah.
So Tim, does your motion still stand?
My motion still stands.
Waiting for a second.
Go on, Amy, give this.
I guess, is this different than what we've had in the past, or we've just not done it for a while?
Yeah, there's not been any appointments made the last few years.
And we were supposed to be doing it,
Right, because you did not have a charter ordinance in place.
so we were supposed to be doing it and not doing it.
Right.
So now we want to adjust it so we don't ever have to do it, except for reason.
So yeah, that's what I'm just trying to explain it or understand it. When we hire a new city clerk, we don't have to actually do this again because we're hiring them for that position, assigning them that
Right.
role, and then they're there until we fire them or they quit.
Right.
Okay. All right. I'll second.
Motion to approve ordinance 14, charter ordinance 14 by Tim, seconded by Annie. Any further discussion?
Well, it does say we should be regulated by adopted personnel policies, so or their pay. So we should probably get some of that on the books sometime. Pay ranges, because we don't have any of that written down to my knowledge.
Yeah, I think, I don't, probably the only is the city attorney.
Right, because they tell us, I'm sure.
Yes, they
Yeah.
But
Okay.
that's something to think about for
Yeah.
future roles, because we do not have pay ranges, and we need them.
Any further discussion?
No.
Those in favor?
Roll call.
Oh,
Sorry, roll call.
Because it's
my
an
bad.
ordinance.
That's
Yep.
true. Okay, Michelle?
So,
I looked at Annie. Why did I look
She's
at
not
Annie? That's
here.
at Michelle. Okay, all right. Julie? No? Okay, Annie?
Annie, yes.
All right, Brett?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Let me sign my.
Doesn't matter.
So passes. All right. Public officer appointment. I have interviews, and of the interviewed people, I'm going to appoint Clayton Camblin as the public officer for the city of Eskridge. Is anybody who wasn't here for that night that we did the,
I think.
Brett and
Annie?
Tim were the only
Oh,
two.
Tim,
that were
did you
here.
go? I
okay,
thought-
do you want to see a copy of his,
No, I remember his. That's fine.
Okay.
I think Brad knows about it. Clayton Camlin, they're newer to town.
Yeah.
I believe.
I move to approve accept the adoption, however you word it,
I'll second.
the appointment?
the appointment.
You want to set a salary?
I would say that it's the same as the last one. We pay Becky and currently pay.
And we discussed it with him as well.
Right.
15.
I mean, that probably needs to be in the motion.
Okay,
Okay. Sorry.
I move to accept the appointment of, state his name again,
Clayton,
as the city
Camblin.
public officer for $15 an hour,
up to 20 hours a week.
up to $20 hours a week. Goodness.
Okay, motion by Tim to accept the appointment of Clayton Camblin for $15 per hour, up to 20 hours per week for the position of public officer of City of Eskridge. Do I have a second? And seconded by Brett.
Now, time out before we vote. Yes, sorry. You're going to ask if there's further
Yes,
discussion.
comment, yeah.
There is.
Okay.
We just accepted it for city public officer. Does that mean he can't work at the lake? Because we discussed it with him if he would be willing to go out to the lake.
To cross train, but his main job will be city.
Well, I'm just wondering if his title should be public officer, not city
City public
public
Well,
officer.
Well, what's Robin's title out there at the lake?
She's the lake public officer and we had a city public officer and they cross-trained each other so they could help each other out.
Mhm.
It's just semantics, but I don't want to get in a situation.
Can you give us an example of a situation?
No, I can't.
Okay, so
That's what I was concerned about. So
Your
if
thoughts,
it's not
Andy?
a problem, then let's move on with life.
I mean, I think that's just a job description thing, right?
Yeah, we
If
talked.
they're
about
allowed to work both.
Yeah,
I don't know.
well, we talked to him about doing both.
Well, okay, I can give you an example. Let's say that our city public officer is the one who got the whole ball rolling on another situation that we've been fighting out at the lake for a very long time. I could see them coming up with an attorney saying all this is null and void because it wasn't even the lake public officer. It was somebody acting out of their jurisdiction.
Okay. Let's, I'm just gonna suggest that we accept it as the motion was read, and we can check with Todd, and if we need to amend anything or make a
Good
change, we can do that at that time.
Sounds good.
So it is appointed as the city public officer? Is
Yes.
that- Okay,
Yes.
that's what I wrote down. I just was
Okay.
wanting to clarify.
Sorry for muddying the
No,
waters.
no, it didn't muddy him. I mean, that's what we're here for, to work those things out. All right, any further discussion? Those in favor? Okay, so he has been appointed. Okay, next up. A dock permit for Schlagle, 145 Cedar Circle.
Robin said she went out and looked at it and didn't see any problems with it.
Do they only have one dock?
I can go look. I don't know.
Lisa, which Lego?
Vince tried
Vince.
at
That's it,
145.
Cedar Circle.
I'm putting my foot up because it's hurting. I've been on it.
Richard, do you know if they only have one dock?
I do not. Is this for
We're
a dock
supposed to have pictures.
rebuild or a dock repaired?
Modification.
Oh,
He
yeah.
wants to move his boat slip from here to
Robin's
here.
not been doing that.
Okay.
It's a side entry and he wants to enter it from the front. I think is what I read.
That's the way I'm reading it, but,
Change it from a side entry
Is that why
to
we're paying
pulling
that?
straight in from the lake.
He has one dock and one deck.
I move to approve.
Wow.
so the diagram is what it looks like currently.
And
Well,
just-
there's two
and then
actually.
flip over
Flip it
the.
over.
Sorry,
Okay,
I was
all
trying to
right,
say-
there you go, all right. Okay,
It's a tight. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't blame them for wanting to change.
I don't either.
Can't get into it now. So they only have one dock.
Yeah, one dock and one
I'm
deck,
sorry.
or one other structure.
I'm for it because they can't even use it as it sits now.
Then second it.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know you did it first.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's too many side ones. Second, the motion.
all right, motion to approve the, permit for Vincent Schlegel at 145 Cedar Circle by Tim, seconded by Annie. Any further discussion? Those in favor? Okay,
Jeez, Tim, you're going faster than me.
motion is
I
approved.
got the-
You probably ought to just go. I
Put
mean,
this in the
honestly.
email. We're about the bottom.
Next up is the
Say that.
2024 proposed budget. You all should have a copy of that in your packet.
I just did the summary page. If you want the whole 20 pages, I'm glad to go print it off for you. But
This is what,
Barney and Associates
yeah.
proposed, took 22 and 23 actuals and projections to come up with the 24.
So like how much is transferring from the lake into the general?
There would be 15 as proposed.
I'm with Brad. I think we need to reduce that considerably.
15,000?
Mhm.
How much does
Which-
it normally?
15. 15 from the lake fund to the general fund and 15 from the lake fund to the reserve fund for the road.
I think we need to stop doing that. Eliminate it. You get the sales tax. What is the other part?
I was gonna propose that we would do more, like 25,000 or 35,000.
Not on the same
Well,
page there, are we?
Well, and I
Wasn't
will
aware.
tell you, this year, out of the lake fund, you're not gonna have the 15,000, I don't believe, to transfer.
So how do we make up what we've been getting? Because I mean, the general fund generally has the least and the most come out of it because everything comes out of the general fund, right? Something as far as like bills and
Donation.
employees and donations and everything
Well-
that needs to be done for the city can come out of here, out of the general fund. And we generally don't have enough money in general fund for maintenance of things in Eskridge. So I just wanted to try to get more money into the general fund,
I mean,
or I want more money in the
Yeah.
general fund, because that money then will directly affect things that we can do for our citizens directly,
And I
pay
can-
taxes to our town.
I mean, I don't know what the other council members feel, but your time frame is crucial, that you have to have it adopted by the 25th of August. So
So
if
we
you don't, if
could-
you don't do the budget hearing on the 14th of August, you'll have to have a special meeting with the accountants redoing the budget.
Did you guys used to put money into the library, or was that something else?
No, the
Okay.
library's never been owned by it's just a standard form that the
Oh,
Kansas
I was like-
Department of Municipal Services.
obviously it's zero.
It's
but-
just, yeah.
And the city sales tax jumps up that much because of what added like Scobie Bros business, or
You know,
Be
I
not
don't know
too
how to
wicked.
explain
In the middle here,
How
and you
the
could
But it's
budget
a little
process
raise
works.
fees,
It just,
dock fees.
it's just,
I'm in favor
appropriately
of doing that.
to absorb
Well, look at 23's
$25,000.
current estimate for 23 on city sales
or
tax.
45.
oh, I guess.
Now look at the proposed for 24.
Okay. I guess if we're guessing that's
So I don't
this
think
year.
and they
I don't
really,
think they're
it is,
considering
it's
this
just,
guy here.
it's just a guess.
Right. I know that.
The main ones are the general debt service and employee benefits, because those are the three funds that your mill levies are generated that get your money to the city.
Lisa, are you gonna remain revenue neutral?
Or when they worked it up, they were able to remain revenue neutral, so they wouldn't be having to have the hearings and additional meetings.
It's my opinion that the city gets a substantial amount of money more than what they were before through the sales tax to give to the citizens, whether it be the park, the sidewalks, the alleys, whatever. I don't think that the lake should suffer any more than it already is. I think the money should stay at the lake.
Well, and I will add, those transfers are only made if the cash funds are available. They're in the budget, but if the cash isn't in that water fund or the gas fund or the sewer fund to transfer,
But to ensure that it could be, fees could be raised at the lake to ensure that and
well, that
absorb
doesn't
that.
have anything to do with this though.
Right, but
Yeah,
if it was done, it would.
I mean, I guess we're having a good argument because we both want to keep money back to make improvements, which is not a bad thing, but obviously we need to just keep it in our ranges. But I don't know, I've not got strong feelings.
I just,
and those,
and I understand Tim's point as well, but for years, we can clearly say that we do considerable amount of maintenance out and around the lake comparably to in the city limits here. I mean, you can drive around and see it. The lake always looks wonderful around the holidays. Sometimes our park doesn't even get mowed. And I know that's because, short staff, whatever. But the fact remains is the lake always looks sharp. And
But I
that is
think-
not how Eskridge looks,
to get the
always.
budget hearing set for August 14th, it really doesn't have anything. It's kind of two separate stories here. You've got the budget authority in the lake fund to spend up to $210,000 if you generate that much. So what you're asking, Brett, is kind of a different story. Terry talked about having a budget meeting like we did last year to kind of
Break things down.
break things down.
I guess I don't want the option of up to, I want a guaranteed increase. So instead of 15, I want to guarantee 25 at the lowest
To the city?
to the city, to the general fund.
And I guess that's gonna be up to the Tim and Annie if they wanna change that budget transfer. I mean, it's not gonna change your mill levy any, but your budgeted transfers would have to be adjusted. But you'd still have to fall within that maximum budget authority of $210,000 that you would be allowed only if the cash were there.
Right, yeah.
The
other thing is, so we did the wall for the beach, but we still have other projects, right? Like what else was the other?
Water,
What was the other
we need
one?
water for the campers. We need
Which is
bait
not a
house.
necessity because we have a hydrant and a hose for them to
No,
pull
what
up
was the
to
other
and fill.
concrete project that we had? Because we couldn't do both. What was the other one?
At the lake?
The lake.
We
The
talked
ramp?
about the boat ramp, but we don't need another boat ramp.
it was
There
just-
were two separate walls
Yeah, they did them. They did.
and we did both walls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even realize.
I mean, there's
issue
some
of
dock
electrical
maintenance that needs
outlets.
to, I
No, I
mean, the
know
long
that's,
dock.
I mean, that's just.
South of the bait shop
That's not
needs
the
some
same.
maintenance to it because it's tilting and some of the other docks need maintenance as well.
We
need
could go
fire
on and on
pits.
with things that are needed.
I mean, I think we can always amend if we
But
really.
the list in Eskridge
really
is
need
much
to.
longer and we're never gonna get there for our citizens if we don't do something.
I wouldn't say that. I'd say you've made leaps and bounds. Thank you, Annie.
With
I
donated
mean that
money.
sincerely. You have to- But a lot of that money was also from the sales tax.
Yeah, we can actually just use it for whatever. I mean, I do have a little more leeway in the park, but we don't usually touch it because we want it on the sidewalks. We haven't touched it because we want it for sidewalks and we're still working on those.
Where
park
we at
sidewalks.
on the north side sidewalk?
Hi, Jimmy's
Anybody
supposed to come in and concrete that. So we're waiting on that and then we have to fill it and then end of August, beginning of September is the projected
We're gonna work on
timeline
it.
for the
Okay.
the fourth sidewalk.
Okay.
We're gonna try to get the back behind the sign as well on there, but we'll see. I don't know.
I will move to approve this as it is. Instead of cutting that money down.
I mean, this is just a budget, so I'll second. I think it's fine for now.
Motion
I get your
to,
argument.
Live to fight another day, Brett.
we have a motion on the floor to approve the budget hearing for August 14th as written, seconded by Annie. Any further discussion? Those in favor? Those opposed? Okay. Passes 2-1.
You don't have to sign that.
I'm
'Cause
not,
we haven't
I'm
had
not.
the-
this is
We're gonna have to do something, Tim. Drive around town. We need money. We can't be afraid to go after it.
On that note,
Okay, we
we
have,
gotta wait one more subject and then we'll bring that up.
I do have something before you guys completely adjourn.
It's not that time yet.
This is where we are.
One more
are
subject.
we on,
Kramer short form agreement.
okay,
This is just informational purposes.
right.
So.
I thought that's what this one was.
Yeah.
Did we get Todd happy with this?
Yes.
Yeah, he's,
Yes.
he's,
Ben
he likes it.
emailed that late this morning, early this afternoon, and Todd replied that he was good with the new contract.
So we just need approval on this.
Yes,
I move to approve.
Which one are you talking about now?
the short form agreement.
Okay.
for carrying it.
All right.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion to approve the short form agreement with Kramer by Tim, seconded by Brett. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
And as Mike had pointed out to us, we desperately need to have a discussion about rates and compensating for the costs of everything skyrocketing except for the rates in town. Apparently that means a KCC.
It doesn't, if you.
Are you
Are you talking
gas
about the
or
water
what are you
rates?
talking about?
Talking about all the above.
Water rates, I mean, we talked about that last summer too, but
I don't
Yeah.
think we go through the KTC for water, do we?
no.
No, just for
So you're
gas.
Yeah,
gas.
that's what I thought.
Anybody that resides outside of the 3-mile radius would fall under the KCC's jurisdiction, and it would require a tariff to be, or a rate. What's it called?
I
Anyway,
should know. I hear it all
I
the
know.
time.
It would actually, I mean, it does have to go to get KCC's approval. Whether they would approve it or not, you know. And hopefully you'll have another city. clerk
So then
like
what
that.
do our citizens
went through
get
that
for an
once.
increase in their water rates?
I know somebody that knows a little bit about it. She knows a lot of those commissioners by name.
I did that one time here.
Should be willing
when
to
we
help.
increased the minimum from something to the, whatever its current is now, but that's a lot of work.
Well, I think that we should have this
Is there-
discussion
Infrastructure
the
is
first
what,
meeting in August. Because that's a city meeting. The second one will be the lake meeting.
It's okay with me if you put it on the agenda for August
what did you
14th.
say? I'm sorry.
I think that we should
Oh, the rate increase?
work on something.
Work on raising our citizens' rates. That's
Your
what you're asking.
infrastructure, yeah, your
Well,
infrastructure
yeah,
has to be.
you know,
kept
Well, if you're
up.
talking water rates, you're impacting a whole lot of it
Right.
more.
The
than
water
just-
rate, no, because LWID, our 3 water districts, that, they've got a contract that doesn't. City water rates would only affect those within the city of Eskridge,
I see.
because the improvement district and our 2 other water districts have a contract, and all those rates are based on,
On a formula.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it would not affect
And what are
Water
those rates again?
which rates.
Could you get me all those rates? So we can look-
Probably doesn't have this off the top of her head.
Well, I mean, your minimum for gas is $9.50. That's no usage.
I would,
And then the city's margin is $2.61 per MCF on gas. Your water rate is $11 for your minimum that includes the first 1,000 gallons. And then I think it's $5.50 per 100 above that for each 100, yeah, I think. But anyway,
I would like it if you could dig up how long
each rate has been at that rate. Like if we haven't touched the gas rate in 12 years or
Oh,
whatever,
Yeah,
I would like to know that, Lisa.
Yep.
Because it'd be interesting
Same
to
with the
check
water rate.
the inflation rate since that had taken place. And if we followed inflation, what would it be today? So I don't know. I would just like to know where the target is that we should be shooting for.
Well, I think it's necessary to know that because we are,
your sewer rates are the only ones that have increased in the last.
And somebody told us that we had to do that.
It's in order to qualify for any grants, it had to be at like the state,
Average.
Average.
Or something. Can't
we
remember how
were
they worded
way,
it. We were desperately low.
way below the state average on the sewer rates. And I'm sure we are on, anybody can go to krwa.net and look at water rates statewide. It'll give you usage. You know, like I said, we get 1,000 gallons for $11 and then it increases. But krwa.net, and they've got a spreadsheet that lists every city in the state and what their water rates are, if they're members of KRWA.
And you have something that would tell what people are paying for gas or for
No,
all the
I
other.
mean, not that I know of. I'd have to, I don't know, because not all the towns are regulated by KCC.
We're the only one, aren't we?
Alma is.
what are they selling?
They sell gas and electricity and water.
Really? I didn't know they had gas up there.
Yeah.
That they sold.
To McFarland and farther north too, but anyway. But I'll try to get some information together before the next meeting.
That is all that I wanted to
Address. Okay.
bring up.
I got three things.
Should we
on
put a
there.
newsletter out to let people know that we're going to be talking about raising rates? See if anybody wants to come.
I like that newsletter that you guys send out with that one
One going out.
utility bill or whatever.
One's
it
going
was.
out the 1st of August.
Yep.
Yeah.
The next one is.
Yeah,
Did you want to put
awesome.
something in it? Did you want to comment in it?
No,
Put a little article in there?
Well, and this one will,
I had to be pre-approved.
the public.
Censored.
She
This
knows
is
Censored.
that.
Maybe that
sure.
one
public
better.
awareness information for the gas company that's mandated 2 times a year, so.
You want something in the newsletter about the proposal to increase
Mhm.
water rates? Okay.
Tell them all it's Brett's idea.
Yeah.
Well,
They can watch the meeting and see it's tense.
what I started to say about
It wasn't
increase,
mine.
There's mics.
what I started to say about the increase is that we're continuing to do business
Once again,
on a yearly basis based on
As a citizen.
revenue that was established 10 or 12 years ago. And during the past 10 or 12 years, everything's gone up in price, but we're not keeping up with it.
Yeah.
And the longer we go not keeping up with it, the harder it's going to be to get caught up, number one, and the more flack you're going to get from your customers because you got to raise it quite a bit to make the difference up.
Like of dog fees.
Like a dock fee. That's a very good example. I kid you not. If you guys had, not you guys, if the council over the last 10 years had raised dock fees $10 a year,
We know.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
you would not have had 80 people in here arguing about raising it $75.
The other issue that I'm not sure if Andy was on the
If it
council,
was $1, we'd have 5.
the sewer rates, we were told they had to be raised to get us up to the state average. Otherwise, we would never be considered for a grant to redo our
Are we being
sewers.
told that now? With the water rates and everything, are we being told that?
Not to my knowledge, I don't know that any grants have been applied for
Yeah,
gas.
we
or
haven't.
I mean,
water.
what was the reason when this was brought up, why we were wanting to raise water rates? What was the context of why it was brought up to raise water
Because
rates?
we were trying to apply for a sewer grant.
No,
You
Because
talking about
No.
recently, like in the last 60 days?
like the last meeting we had is
Yeah.
when we brought
Yes.
this up, we
Yeah.
were talking about the water rates. What was the reason why
I
it
just
was
told you
brought
the
up?
reason why, because we're not keeping up with the cost of doing business.
That was the reason why.
That's the reason why.
because I wanted to give the city guys all a $3 or $5 raise. I don't remember.
No.
I don't remember
You
which
were
one you
wanting to raise that was a way that you brought up raising the water rates as a way to pay for employee raises. That's what it was. Was that And I wanted to give each one of the employees a $3 an hour raise and not hire another full-time employee to save the city that money. So don't say it. I mean,
But-
you got to say it all if you're going to say
Didn't
it.
say it all because the other part of that was we'd hire a part-time person.
Right.
Okay, so don't just say that those two would be doing all the work for 3 or 2.5. So we would be hiring a third person, but it wouldn't be at full time if we were able to do that. If we weren't able to do that, we've got to raise the rate somewhere to cover not only their salaries and their benefits, but we've also got to raise money to cover the cost of just paperwork,
Well, your chemicals,
supplies,
your-
chemicals, all sorts
I
of
mean,
things.
look
It's
at
not just
gas,
the
your
employees. It's
fuel.
It's within our purview to check it regularly and keep up. Yes, so this is not something that's outrageous to be talking about.
I
We
agree.
do need to be doing that.
I agree.
I don't know how regularly. Is it a yearly? Is it a every other yearly? What do you guys? I don't know. I've done this long.
Different companies do it different ways. Some people do it once every 4 years and they raise the rates to cover what they lost in those 4 years and enough to sustain them for a year or two. And then 2 years after that, they raise them again. So it depends on the company. Some do it yearly. Some people look at a budget, for example, if they say that we can spend $5,000 a year on office supplies and we budget that, and then this year we only spend $3,500, our budget won't be $5,000 for the office supplies next year. It'd be $3,500 roughly. So it just depends on how you guys want to handle that. But I agree with you, Annie. It's something that should be looked at, whether you do it or not. It should be looked at to see if it's warranted.
I think that's a problem that we've had as a council in general, and it's hard when you're elected to maintain a schedule. But that is something that we need to get on top of, is regularly checking the same way we do the staff and whatnot on a yearly basis.
Yeah.
We need to get it built up and actually stick to it, or have future councils stick to it, I guess. But that's
Yeah.
hard to do.
We can
sometimes.
set it up so that future councils have to do it.
I mean, so there's something that
But
like
we
at
always
least
have
rings
the
the
power
bell.
to rectify what
They
should
can
have
always-
been happening in the past.
Right. Anyway.
Anything else?
Yeah, I've got a comment about LWID and the trash service that they have out there. I don't think we as a city can force LWID to force the lake residents to have trash service with LWID. But we're getting more and more resident trash at the bait house than we've been getting for quite some time. And we need to find a way to stop that. So could you put something in your book that
I'd be glad to, Jerry, and
in your newsletter.
tell me how you know that it's coming from lake residents or lake visitors. Or,
Caught 2 of them this weekend.
you did, Judy?
Yes.
Were
Mary
they,
Jane caught one on,
were they residents or guests of the residents? They were residents.
they were residents of the lake. And I just happened to be sitting out there last night with Tressa, just because she wanted a snack. So it was a little after 9, and somebody pulled up to the dumpster and was helping themselves to throwing away trash, and I unhelped them.
Well, I mean, if Todd were here, I'm pretty sure he would agree. That's a theft of service. If you want to give,
Absolutely.
I mean,
And I know
Well,
it's not
because
even wrong.
she stopped them there, but they went right over probably to the lodge. and
That's
threw
what
them
I'm
in the
saying. I
dumpster.
bet they went
Yeah.
straight over to the lodge, because then they come right back from that direction. So
And who pays the lodge's trash to be hauled away?
person,
The lodge.
They do.
They do.
Or-
Yeah.
So then that's an issue that they have to deal with.
Right.
oh, they complained about it to me too.
To you, the
Are
lodge.
you
can-
running them people off and making them throw their trash in my dumpster? Is that what they're saying?
Yeah,
No, I
oh,
think
yeah.
they're just
They're just
Venting
putting it
to
in
each
any
other.
dumpster
Venting
that
to
they
each
want.
Okay, as long as they're venting and not basically saying it's our responsibility
No.
to take care of that.
Although Tressa did tell me yesterday that she had asked about herself from their trash service, because she has a place out the lake and then she has a place out here. And she had asked them about removing herself from the trash service, and they told her no.
Where, at the lake or here?
At the lake, they told her no, that she could not remove herself from the trash service at the lake. So I
so
don't
if
know.
they're forcing people to stay, then
No. The only people that are forced to are the short-term rentals, because that's part of the condition of
Yes.
getting their short-term rental permit is they have to be on the trash
The
service.
Airbnb places.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
We
It's
shouldn't
not-
see any of those folks in there.
correct.
That's not who I see.
Well,
It's
like I said,
residents from.
But Julie, what I'm saying, if you would give names to Todd, he could move forward
Well, and
with
I
Justice
informed Mary
Service.
Jane the last time, because she said she went over there and talked to the guy, he was snippy with her, and I said, next time take your phone,
Mm-hmm.
take a picture of his tag, and say, I'm calling law.
But
Well,
I mean, you
and
don't
call
always
them.
have your phone. The simple fix would be if we had the cameras working out at the bait shop that I've been talking about for 2 years now. It would clearly have the license plate of the people that were doing it because it points right there.
So that we have a camera, it just doesn't work. Oh, that's the system that we were talking about.
We can't hack into the controls.
They're
you
so
know.
cheap these days. I
I
don't
know.
know why.
I wish
yeah.
I knew how to do that stuff because
Yeah, I don't know how to.
I wonder if we can use the same existing cameras and wiring and just buy another box.
you have a son that does that kind of work, Tim?
I do not.
Okay.
Well-
What?
Brad put all his up at his
Who?
house. Brad Height put all his up
Oh.
at his house. He just bought a new like $200 system and put 3 or 4.
Yeah, they're not expensive.
I think he's pretty tech savvy.
It doesn't take that much tech savvy
He's
to do
very
it anymore. You
tech-savvy,
can literally
though.
just stick them up and connect them to the internet.
Yeah, they just connect to your computer.
Probably figure it out if I put my mind to it, I guess.
I bet you
Well,
are.
we need to look, somebody needs to take the effort to look
I'm
at
not
the
being
cost.
mean.
No, I Tim,
Rob,
that's
she
all.
probably could do it.
Well, I'm not beyond somebody looking up the cost of getting a system. So we have an idea what it takes.
Tim.
Well, most people don't know that that system doesn't work until somebody runs their mouth on that camera. Because they see
The only way it's ever gonna get fixed, I mean, they've had it's been
Oh, I
so
know.
many
Yeah,
times.
it's been a pain in the butt. Is it to my turn yet?
You could have seen who backed in and broke and bent the gate as well, so you would know who to compensate for that.
Okay, so you're really. Is
I
it my
want-
turn yet?
Not yet. I want to ask if anybody knows anything about a floating dock that's run haywire at the lake.
Yes.
Tim does. He went and seen it last.
He what?
I've seen it several times. I haven't taken the time to go out there and do anything about it yet.
I believe Cindy Rent is saying that there's one out in her area. You know anything about that, Richard?
It's
I
floated
know, I
away.
know where she lives.
It's not
but
over
I
by the
haven't-
rope
I
swing
haven't
anymore?
seen it.
No, it's
The
floated
main
away
rope
from
swing,
Cindy
not the other
Rent's.
rope
It's not
swings.
there. I've talked to her.
Is it further south on the lake down toward Charlie Ridgeways and beyond? Do you know, or where is it at now?
No,
Oh, it's
it
not
was
Cindy
over by
Rent's.
the rope
Yeah, it was
swing.
over by the rope.
Which
swing.
rope swing?
I'm sorry.
I mean, there's more than
that
one
should
rope
be
swing out
down.
there.
Which rope swing should be down? There's more than one out there, buddy.
Which one did we rule
We're talking
about?
about the spillway.
We have not made a rule to cut one down. Go back and look. What we decided was next time we make a decision,
Digging
on it,
holes,
we will
guys. Digging
discuss it.
holes. Let's focus on
Oh,
this.
Yeah.
What do we need to do about this runaway duck?
I want to know. I really want to know if we have one out there, or if the owner, because didn't somebody not too long ago complain about they were looking for a floating dock?
This isn't the same one, right?
One got away and was inquiring about it. I thought I read that somewhere recently.
No.
At
It
Lake
wasn't
Valencia.
a floating dock, it was more of a flotation device.
Oh, a device. Okay.
Yeah.
So I've got a question. We approve floating docks for people, do we not?
Yep.
Yes, we do. But these are docks that are on their spot that they're leasing instead of having a permanent dock structure. Is that right? Is that what the definition of a floating dock is?
Not.
No,
No,
a
without
permanent
it.
dock is the same as a floating dock. We charge it accordingly. It's just that they can either permanently make a structure there or they can have a floating dock.
So how does that floating dock stay where it's at and
It's
not get
anchored.
away?
It's still
anchored.
Anchored at the
Yeah.
shore.
And it's anchored to the shore
So
by means of a
has
cable?
anybody been out to McGivern's? Because he has a floating dock. So if you've been out to McGivern's, you would know that the dock has 2 posts in the ground in front of it, and then it has a rope with 2
Yeah,
hooks around
we
it
have
that would
that.
hold.
Did you see when they were building that one dock over there on the shore?
Yeah, I was out there for that.
Right. And he floated that over. That's a
Right.
floating dock.
All right, so my question is, how do they attach it to their property so it
anchor.
doesn't get loose?
They pounded down.
And now, and what are they using to hold it with? A cable or rope that can rot over time or what?
No, they usually pound down poles and then anchor it to the poles.
What we're talking about, the floating dock you're talking about, I believe was entirely a homemade device. There's
By Tom Sawyer.
55-gallon barrels
Oh
underneath
yeah,
it.
that is what it is.
It's very well made. I'll give you that. But it's not the floating docks that have
Yeah,
the
yeah.
the
Yeah.
manufactured
Buoy
boxes
system,
or
yeah.
whatever.
Or the anchors like you guys are talking about that they don't
This
have.
is just something somebody
Okay,
threw
well, that was-
together to tie onto the end of the dock.
Okay,
they already
well, that
had.
was just something that came across my mind this past week about a floating dock. How are these people losing these docks? They're supposed to be attached in some way is what I'm thinking. But I understand what you're saying. Somebody's building a device off to the
Add on
side
to their dock, yeah.
to do whatever they want, and somehow
Or
it
just
got away from
Drag
them.
out in the middle of the lake. That's what we've done before.
And when we made a deal, an
Especially
issue
with
about it,
drums
they're
and
like,
everything.
well, not mine. Do, 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 do.
But I take it you never went out there and got that one. You said
I
you
did
were
not
going
go
to.
out to get it, no.
Yeah.
I went out and tried a couple times. One time there was a handful of people on it. Another time I forgot to bring a rope. or
You should have
anything
said,
with
"Hey, that's my dog. Get
me."
off of it."
I'm gonna charge you guys.
Yeah.
$5 for each jump.
Okay, I do have one more thing I want to talk about, but Julie, I want to ask you, what is it that you want to say right quick? You weren't on the agenda, so that's why we passed
I
you.
know, I'm sorry.
Do you want on the agenda every time we have something, a meeting?
Well, she was
Just-
supposed to be coming
Just
to
when
the
I
lake
have a
meetings
thought, if you'll just put on there when I
during
have
the
a thought.
season. This was
No,
Spit it out.
I just wanted to say that Brett, through his community service, made almost $500 over selling biscuits and gravy over 4th of July
Nice job.
because we want a flagpole for out of the lake and to buy some new flags for out around the cemetery. In between that and the Scobie brother guy, not this one, but his brother, donated a bunch of Lakewood Bunsey koozies to me, and then I've been selling them, and so all that money's just been going into that fund. So we got a little over $500.
That's for a flagpole and flags at the cemetery.
Well,
Like,
a flagpole at the lake,
permit office.
flags at the cemetery.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Very good.
Anyway, so my point of coming today was because much as I hate to say this, I'm on the lake people side. Because every time they come in here and they go, well, it's our lake, blah, blah, blah. And I go, no, it's a city lake. They are correct. It is a city lake. And we need those buoys put back out there where they need to be in the lake because that is our lake. It is our responsibility.
I thought we moved to have somebody do this like a month ago.
No, it's been brought up 4 different times.
No,
Nothing's been moved on to do.
It has been moved
there was a motion.
And it was
Yeah.
approved by
by the
six-
materials to make
six of
the weight, the anchors.
Now, and who not a
Last-
specific
last
person that was going to do it.
Jesse is going to put them out. He said he would.
Okay.
Just talk to Mike.
I don't recall talking to Mike about it. Did I talk to Mike about it? Not in here anyway, that's for sure.
I did not.
Last meeting, we
But
made the
anyway,
motion.
some other guy came up
600?
the other
Two meetings
day.
It
ago.
was 2 meetings ago because I was there.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've been talking about the buoys for 4 years.
We've been talking about them all summer for sure, but I thought we were like moving.
None. I still
So what
got.
do we wait? What's the whole? Where were we stuck? I
We got to
guess.
build anchors. So this guy that will move them,
We need
place them for
chains.
us.
We
Needs
have the
the anchor.
buoys. We just don't have the
We need
materials.
chains
for the-
and
We
we
need to tell Mike
need
to build it.
concrete.
in the
Okay.
next 2 weeks so that we can pass it off to Jesse and somebody needs to call Jesse and tell him in the next 10 days Mike's gonna be making these. They're gonna be done. You can pick them up anytime after that and do it at your leisure and drop them at the lake.
Okay.
That's
So
all it takes.
There's an information breakdown.
Yeah, because I mean, back in my younger day, I could have hauled a bunch of concrete back there and made a concrete sinker, but I can't do it now.
But I think Mike's aware that he's gonna be making because he was at a meeting where he agreed that he would make them.
I haven't seen him at a meeting for a while, so I don't know when that was.
The only meeting he's been out here recently is the.
Well, I know.
the
Well, it
interview.
could have been months ago when it was brought up, but he's agreed that he would make them.
Well, I just didn't want to drop in Mike's lap. If anybody wants to volunteer,
But
I'll
he
talk
probably
to-
doesn't know that we approved $600 worth of material to do it.
Was it $600 or
Yep.
6 buoys for $1,000?
$600 for the materials to build the buckets
Well, wait,
and
yeah,
concrete
the
and
chains and the
rebar.
buckets.
Rebar and
Whatever.
concrete.
I don't think you have to put rebar and concrete in there.
He stabs rebar through the bucket. Mike described how me
Oh.
to me how stabs rebar through so that when
Make
the
it like
bucket
an
tips to
anchor.
the side, they'll stab into the silt and they'll hold in place.
Gotcha.
Bill Rodinger came up with that idea.
Okay.
That does not surprise me.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you. That's all I wanted.
Okay, while we're giving kudos, I need to point out the alley that I pointed out behind his building. Has anybody noticed it?
Yes,
Because
who are you talking
granted-
Snobies?
Behind the
Bar.
Buffalo Inn.
Oh, Brad's
Um,
building. I know your point.
I will accept that my car must ride lower than most people's, but my neighbor has one of them little Ford N tractors, Nicholas
Mhm.
Hunter, and he just got the tractor running. I said, "Hey, would you run over here and drive through the alley real quick for me? I just want you to knock the top down off that. And that's all I want you to do." Nick doesn't do jobs that way. He saw all the gravel that was spilled out into the street there beside the building. He drug all that gravel back into the alley where it came from. He went up and down there 50 times working that and made it. He did one hell of a good job on that part of the alley right there. It looks good. Have you driven down your alley yet?
I have not.
You know, you should take
Has it
a
been in the last week?
did it last weekend.
Yeah.
Last
you just brought
Saturday,
that
I
up
believe.
Last meeting.
Pardon?
I mean, you just brought that up last meeting.
And Terry said he drove in there and didn't notice anything wrong with it. Well, he drove a truck.
No, I didn't. I drove my car that's out there.
Well, that's not a car.
What the hell is it?
It's not a car.
Can we
It's
hire him to do
What-
more
what
of
is
the
it that's
an
not
alleys?
SUV.
Did I miss?
It ain't a high rise.
Did they make a?
Could we hire him to do more of the alleys?
We
I
made
bet
the
he
motion
would.
for the
He'll
anchors. Is
do
that what you're talking about?
anything for an
It was
extra
done.
dollar.
That
A month ago.
3 or 4 meetings
Did a
ago.
damn
It was
good job. You
not
should look at it.
communicated.
Ask him
That's
how
where it
before.
stopped.
I will.
The last thing I want to talk about, as far as mayor concerns go, is that I went to the Flint Hills Regional Council Board of Directors meeting last Friday in Junction City. And I just want to emphasize what the $360 dues that we paid has done for the city of Eskridge so far. Okay. And we have gotten to date over $42,000 worth of free work done on the assessments of our buildings here in town. And we're in phase 2, and they would have been here tonight if it wasn't for that lady having the flight canceled out of Europe. And you guys would probably get more information on where they're at, but we're in phase 2. They can't go any further than where they are right now until after that market study's been presented to us, which is really why I wanted it done tonight, so we're not delaying that portion 3 extra weeks. But we don't have any choice at this point. So next meeting they'll be discussing that. Also of interest was there's like $200 million in grant money available to the 10 different regional councils in the state of Kansas. And Flint Hills, yeah, quite a bit. Flint Hills so far actively the only one that's pursuing any of that money. They do expect the others to get on board with it. But anyway, they got 4 years left. It's a matching fund that has to meet federal requirements, but there's other deals that we can do, their cities can do to come up with the matching fund so that we're not paying it all. And we'll get more information on that. And there's 7 things that the feds are looking for to improve your small communities, but they're really focusing on the top 5, and those are broadband. Everybody knows that we need broadband in this area. Water. So if we're having issues with water, which from my understanding, talking with Mike, we're going to have to redo our entire city system within 5 years. And he's already working on looking at things and how we're going to fund it. And he's talking about loans. I'm talking about grants. You know, might as well take as much grant money possibility as we can get so that we're not having to charge our own people for it. Transportation, that would be something like what Alma give people Rockport or even Manhattan for various things. I don't know if Eskridge has a great need for that yet or not.
The county does that actually.
Yeah.
That's to the county.
Oh, it's to the
And-
county, but it's
yeah,
housed out of Alma, I think.
It is,
Yeah,
but
okay.
they do stop in Eskridge and take people places. I've seen them.
The fourth thing is cybersecurity. So that's important for businesses like like City Hall, for example. It's important for us to have cybersecurity, and I'm sure other people that get businesses going, if home businesses, if you have one, would probably want that too. But that kind of goes along with their broadband, I would think. And the other thing is energy. So what are they talking about there? I don't have a clue because they didn't really discuss on it. But if Justin was here, he would say, leave it the way it is. But I'm thinking there might be talking about wind power or even solar power. Who knows what they're talking about there. The other two things that they're not really throwing a lot of money towards or emphasizing is resiliency and sustainability. So there you go. If any of that floats your boat, let me know, and we will meet with whoever necessary to try to get more information for us. Okay. They also made a comment that it would be nice if the city board of directors would, if the board of directors of all the cities that are part of this would bring council members to a meeting just for another reason to introduce them so they can see what's going on. Because I'm not going to be here after my term's over with. Some of you may be taking my place, some of you may not. But if you're taking my place, I think being a member, and especially on the board of directors, is important for ESCOs because we're getting things that we haven't been getting before. And it's all through them. To give you
When do they have their meetings?
once a month. It's on, usually it's on Fridays, and it's usually the third Friday of the month, and it's usually, it scatters around the district. We had one in Eskridge here a couple months ago at the lake, but they're always 9 in the morning to 11. So some folks that are working here today can't go, which limits our council's ability to send people out there. So anyway, it'd be nice if some of you guys could go to these meetings or you watch them on
YouTube.
Zoom. Is that what it is? Zoom.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do that, let me know and I can introduce you to the people, okay, or introduce you to the group. But like I said, Junction City's thinking about bowing out of it. But Junction City's dues, I think it's based, I don't know what the dues are based on. I'm going to think it's based on city size because the dues for Junction City to be a member of this is $20,000 a year.
Wow,
But
we're getting a bargain.
yeah, but Junction City has received this year alone over $2 million in grant money through this effort here. So it's in their best interest to keep paying the $20,000 because they've got other projects coming up that's going to take a lot of effort. And right now we've got a grant writer that don't charge us a thing.
Right now.
Right now, I say that right now because you never know what the future's going to bring. That's all I've got. Anybody else got anything?
I move to adjourn.
Wait. There's an applicant for a clerk's position that she's tested pretty well. Don't know if you want to hold interviews anytime.
Yeah, because we need to interview the other one too, don't we?
And that's the one I'm talking about. She
Oh,
should
same
be,
one. Okay.
well, and
Florida.
she should be back anytime after August 1st. She should be available.
Since it's just one, can we do it before the next meeting or do we want to do it sooner?
Do it before the next meeting? You mean like on August 14th, do it before the meeting starts?
14th is so late, I guess. But
I'd like to do it before the 14th meeting so we can take action at that time.
okay.
We don't have to
There's an interview.
appoint her during a council meeting, do we?
Yeah, you would.
But it doesn't have to be an actual meeting to interview.
True.
So I'm in favor of you rounding up the posse and us showing. I mean, I'll do what I can to be here whenever you say she wants to be interviewed.
Annie?
Yeah.
Brett?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I meant to be at the last one, sorry.
All right. So it'll be after the 1st of August, which is a Tuesday, maybe?
A week from tomorrow.
Where's August at on that thing? Oh, there it is. Okay. So maybe August,
Right
maybe
after
July?
Maybe
Open or
August
full in
2nd.
part or just one or the other.
I don't know. I didn't discuss that with her. So I don't know.
don't we have another one? Did somebody else apply that,
Yeah, let's see.
Well, there's two that live like 10 and
one of them, didn't one of them live next door to Annie's mom's house?
somewhere out there.
I think that person
If
did.
your charter ordinance says they have to live within 7 miles.
Yeah,
Your
and
regular, I mean, state statute was you had to be a member or a resident of the city. But they chartered out of that years ago and set the distance at 7 miles.
and the reason the distance was set to 7 miles, I might add, was because of Joe Elliott living at the lake. So if
We're
you
all
guys,
aware.
if you guys could make I'm losing my train of thought. If you guys can make a change to allow Joe Elliott to be within 7 miles and be away from that state statute, we could do the same thing
Oh,
for
yeah,
somebody
you
that's
could
9
do it.
miles away or 10 miles.
So it's only 8 to my parents' house if you're talking about.
What's that? What's that?
There's only 8 miles to my parents' house.
She told me she lived 9 miles.
We've already broke that rule for years anyway.
Yeah.
So we're not breaking.
But I'm
We're
just saying,
not
if that's a,
breaking the rule
if that's a
because
candidate, we
Don't
need to,
require new employees.
if that's a candidate, we need to interview that person as
Oh,
well.
I'm talking
That's
about.
just great.
Is that
That's
another?
funny.
Do we have another one? Jen? Is that what you're saying?
I'm pretty sure that somebody, if she hasn't put in for it, I'm gonna find out tonight if she put in for it.
We better ask her.
But you don't, was it like 15-3 something Highway 4 or something? What was the address on that application?
I'll have to look.
Okay,
Why don't you just tell me the name after?
I don't know that,
Oh, you didn't know? Okay.
I don't know it off the top
Does
of my
Sarah
head.
probably know it?
Kid?
Yeah, that's what I was.
No,
gonna
it's, she's probably in her.
No.
50s.
say. The name.
The name.
Oh, is the name
You don't
Kid?
do that on camera.
No.
Yeah. Don't. Yeah. Never mind.
Okay,
We'll finish.
all right, I will get in touch with you guys about interviews,
My
okay?
motion stands.
Second.
Any objections? We're adjourned.
We got a vote.
All in favor? All right, let's adjourn at 8:39 or 8:38.
Oh, I thought we weren't gonna make it. You guys always tack on 50 extra things at the end when there's nobody here.
Can you make sure in the minutes you put the part where I asked you and you said that there's not gonna probably be any money to transfer from the lake fund to the general fund, please? I want people to see it.
I talked to Holly Boyce.
Good.
I guess we'll wait till we're off camera.
Okay,
I just emailed her briefly.
you'd better before, haven't you?